The student demonstrates effective time management. The student demonstrates management of time that is effective. What does that really mean? Hey future OTs and fellow OTs, welcome back to my channel. I'm Talia and I'm a new grad OT. Today we're going to be talking about time management and what that actually looks like and how it can be assessed when you're on placement and how you can be effectively managing your time as an OT student and as a clinician in the future. So I thought when I was planning this video, what makes me qualified to try and give you guys advice around time management? And I looked back on my placement feedback. We used the SPEFA, that's how we're marked, and I had 5 out of 5 for effectively manages time or effective time management for both of my placements. And I had a comment that said, Talia, your time management has been exemplary. So with that being said, I then thought, no, what's the gold standard? An online quiz. And an online quiz by mindtools.com confirmed that I think I'll be able to give you some tips for time management. So let's jump right into it. So effective time management helps us keep our workload under control and at the same time helps us to minimize our stress. How can we be effective with regards to our time management? Number 1, punctuality. Are you arriving to placement early, on time, or late, or whenever you feel like it? That's something simple that clinical educators can really notice and take note of. I prefer to get places early or plan to arrive places early, allowing for the unexpected to happen, and then hopefully when it does, you still arrive on time. It also means being punctual to sessions or meetings. So if you're someone who can never keep track of time or where they need to be at any time, try and set up some reminders on your phone, have a little cheat sheet schedule in your pocket, wear a watch. Now I realize in some hospitals you're not allowed to wear watches. Sometimes you can have your phone, so use your phone to check the time, or even consider if you're someone who really needs to practice looking at the time. That sounds strange. If you're someone who really needs to be prompted to check the time, consider getting one of those nurses' pocket watches that clip to your shirt, sit here and then you lift it up, because usually they are still allowed even with different hand hygiene rules, as that's usually why watches aren't allowed, I believe. Another tip for being punctual with your sessions is when you're positioning yourself in a room when you're about to have a session with a client or a patient or a family, consider seating yourself where you can see the clock on the other side of the room or on a wall, so you can keep track of time, so you're not talking and then running late and then everyone's sessions end up being a bit late. So set yourself some reminders if you feel like you lose track of time really easily, even if it's reminding yourself that I need to finish lunch in 30 minutes and setting a timer for that so you can keep going with your daily tasks. Number 2, completing work within appropriate time frames. Appropriate. So this can be agreed upon time frames with your clinical educator / supervisor. So if they give you a report for the first time to complete, you can ask them what sorts of time frames they expect you to complete that in, whether it's a week, 2 weeks, or the next day. Also think about asking how long does it take them as an experienced clinician to complete a report, and how long does it usually take a student on placement to complete a report. So you have a reasonable time frame that's appropriate for a student on placement, and then you know the gold standard that you might not even achieve whilst you're on placement for getting reports done. As you get used to report writing, it becomes much quicker and automatic, but for students on placement, it can be one of your first reports you're writing, and the templates can be very different between settings, so it might take you a lot longer than your supervisor to complete the same report. So make sure you take that into consideration when scheduling time to work on this report, as well as agreeing to timeframes with your supervisor. Another way to address meeting timeframes is to be adjusting timeframes as necessary and appropriate. If other things come up or you realize as you go along that you're going to need more time, let your supervisor know so you can adjust and agree on a new due date for these reports. Supervisors can really appreciate you checking in with them and letting them know how you're going with the report. So ask them for help rather than getting all the way to the due date and asking them, I didn't know how to do this, so that's why it's not complete. Have a go yourself, try and work through it as much as you can, then bring it to your supervisor, showing them all the work and the things that you've tried, and then ask the questions that are still remaining. So show them that you've worked independently and tried to problem solve yourself, and then bring any tough and remaining questions to them. When you are given a new task, I'm just going to use such as report writing or session planning. When you are given a new task such as session planning or report writing by a supervisor, consider asking them, especially at the start of your placement, what are the priorities? Should I put this report above session planning? Should I put this report above this report because they're going to be discharged tomorrow and they need it tomorrow, or etc. So try and work with your supervisor when establishing these priorities. As placement goes on and you get more experience, you may get better at independently prioritizing different items and reports. Number 3, the student plans their work schedule. So this can be as simple as setting yourself an agenda each day. This can be carrying over to-do lists and tasks you didn't complete the day before and carrying it over to the present day. For me, it's having a diary and a to-do list. I had a book that was just for to-do lists. So every meeting I went into or anywhere I went, I really carried around this book that just had an ongoing to-do list and that I could make random scattered notes in. You never know when you're going to be assigned a new report or a task, or have to have a quick phone call when you need to write things down. So I found carrying a book that I could write to-do lists in around all the time very helpful. Now, some settings are going to be much more predictable and scheduled, so you can really schedule out your days for, I have a session in the morning every day at this time, I have group every day at this time, and the rest of the day I have more admin time where I can schedule when I want to do reports and planning. But other settings, maybe acute or medical settings, you really might not know what's going to happen that day. So you need to be more flexible. So maybe a to-do list, things you want to get completed for that day is going to work better than trying to schedule ahead of time what's going to happen. So try and match your scheduling and planning to the type of setting you're in, whether you need to be really flexible and go with the flow of what's happening that day, or if it's something quite structured and predictable where you can be planning at the start of the week how you're going to be using your free admin hours. So a supervisor might look at if you're setting out and organizing time to complete notes and planning, such as session planning, in appropriate time frames. They can see when things are done last minute. They can see where reports are rushed and you didn't allocate enough time. But if you felt like you didn't have enough time, make sure you're communicating this as it's happening, so your supervisor knows this when they're reading the report, that you didn't have enough time, not that you didn't allocate enough time and rushed at the last second. Over time during placement, your CEs are looking for increased efficiency in note-taking and session planning and report writing. So make sure that the amount of time you took in week 1 to complete a session note is a lot more than what it's taking you in your final weeks. We really should be getting much quicker and efficient and asking for help a lot less during the second half of our placement. So making sure that you're really seeing a progression in your skills and the amount of time it takes you with documentation. And if not, try and reflect within yourself, what's going on, what's taking me the most amount of time, and other things I should be picking up from other clinicians that might improve my efficiency. So as we were saying before, you'll need to get to know how long different things take you so you can appropriately schedule them into your day. So I know a report takes me, say, an hour. I have half an hour here and 45 minutes there, so I'm going to block out that time to complete this report and get it done. So see if you can track yourself in how long it takes you to do different types of documentation, and see if you can then implement that time into your daily scheduling. So guys, these have been some quick tips about effective time management on placement and what your supervisor might be looking for. I have a bunch more tips, so if you'd like to hear them, I will surely make another video for you. I hope you're having a wonderful week, and I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe so you know when my next video comes out. If you like, click that bell button. It notifies you as soon as I upload, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.